This video is going to be my preview of the Lions-Bears Week 11 matchup. On the surface, this game appears quite unbalanced, obviously. The Bears' defense allows 25 points per game, and the Detroit offense comes in 8th in the league in scoring, 26, almost 27 points per game. Fresh off a 41-38 road win over the Chargers, where they rolled up 530 yards of total offense, and the offense didn't commit a turnover, meaning a fumble or an interception. They did go for it on fourth down many times, and one time failed inside the 2-yard line. So a turnover on downs. Justin Fields is going to play in his first game in a month for the Bears, having been a full practice participant all week, if memory serves. He did have 2 4-touchdown passing games early in October before the injury. Chicago's won 2 of 4 games without him since then. And the one thing I immediately noticed upon watching the film, I would have liked to have had time to get to the Bears' offense film and just do not, was how good the Bears' defense is against the run. TJ Edwards is a freaking dynamo. He's everywhere. Tremaine Edmonds was the bigger signing, clearly, in the offseason, but TJ Edwards came over from Philly, and he's fantastic. It's fun to watch film of that guy. I think he's already got 112 tackles, 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. I believe he set a record for most tackles ever through 10 games with the Bears, which is pretty unbelievable when you think about some of the guys that have played with them. Jaquan Brisker, Kyler Gordon are 2 active young safeties. I really like Tyreek Stevenson, the corner from Miami. He played exceptionally well against Davante Adams in a home win in Week 7. But it's clear that the weaker portion of their defense, the relative weakness, is defending the pass. There's no doubt about it. They've only generated 13 sacks in 10 games. The Bears' passing defense, has allowed almost 2,500 passing yards, which is 3rd worst in the league, through 10 games, so 250 yards per game. 68.7 completion percentage. And look, the Lions' offense is balanced. They've got a great game plan every week. Ben Johnson's group is prepared for the play that's called on every snap, but they're also prepared for the adjustments, the audibles, and whatever techniques those plays call for if Jared Goff decides to change the call at the line. I do expect the Lions to be able to throw the ball efficiently against this Bears secondary, but to me it's a matter of, will they have that choice or will they be forced to do so? Meaning, will the Bears be able to slow down or stop the run game such that they force the Lions into throwing the football? I think Ben Johnson's the kind of guy that's committed. He's committed to the run game so much that he's going to make, it's really the other side of the coin, I guess, from a Lions perspective. He's going to make the Bears defend the run. It may sound hyperbolic to you Lions fans, but to be honest with you, this Bears group is very good against the run from the film that I have. They're particularly good on direct flow run plays, meaning things that are straight in a line. Not maybe straight downhill or straight at an angle, but direct flow. There's not really any sense of or any attempt to trick them. On direct flow run plays, they're very good. And clearly the Lions boast not just one of the best O-lines in the NFL, but a very diverse run game and a superbly called under center play action game that I think sets up Jared Goff perfectly in this game against the Bears. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the Bears' run defense to the exclusion of anything else, to be honest with you, because I think that's the most interesting part for me, even though I think very highly of Stevenson, Brisker, and also Gordon. So we'll get started with the film. Chicago's run defense balls out. Let me do it this way, actually. Before we do the film, if the Bears are going to compete in Detroit, and clearly the Lions are favored, they should be. If the Bears are going to compete, I think 2 of 3 things has to happen. Number 1, Chicago's run defense has to absolutely play as good as they've played recently, and I'll read you the stats in a minute. And they got to limit Detroit like the Bucs and Ravens did in week 6 and 7. But in the 2 games since then, Lions have ran for 200 plus against the Raiders and the Chargers. Second thing among the 3 things I think has to happen, or 2 out of 3, the Bears have to win the turnover battle by at least +1. And that seems extremely unlikely, obviously, because the Bears are at -9 on the year, the worst margin in the league for turnover differential. The Lions are at +1 so far. And the third thing that has to happen that I'm not going to really address in this video, to be real with you, is Justin Fields has to generate some unscheduled yardage and first downs and give the Lions pass rush fits. Of those three dynamics, clearly number two is the Bears winning the turnover battle. It appears very unlikely. Number three, some people could say, well, I can see that happening because Justin Fields is a really mobile quarterback. The Lions haven't generated a ton of sacks against mobile quarterbacks. Geno Smith, Lamar Jackson, they had significant trouble. Justin Herbert didn't have a sack last week. I'm going to focus on point number one. Only had time for this one preview. So Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Brisker, Gordon. I really like 93, Justin Jones, the defensive end. He's very active in the run game. 11 quarterback hits as well and 2 sacks. Let's check out some of the film so you can see what I'm talking about. This is 12 personnel against the Saints, week 9. 12 personnel toss. Check out Gordon and I think it's Jack Sanborn, the top side of the screen. I love Gordon's commitment. He's the nickel up at the top of the field, taking on the tight end, and then the angle by Sanborn to get there. Fantastic play. That, to me, that's indicative of how they play run defense on direct flow stuff. Direct flow meaning going at the point of attack right now, no attempt at obfuscation, going under the block by Sanborn, and then Gordon being the force player. Awesome stuff. Both they're committed, and it's not just those two. 12 personnel like a log lead play. Gordon again and Sanborn at the top, are at the bottom, and Sanborn is fitting this perfectly, and so is Gordon. So watch Sanborn basically wrong arm and spill it out to Gordon. You can see that Sanborn's going under it and leaves Gordon totally unblocked at the point of attack. It's Jamal Williams, by the way. Perfect fit by both of those guys. I'm a former defensive coordinator in high school at the youth level, so it's fun to watch that stuff for me. 11 personnel duo. Of course, they shut down the Panthers last week in a 16-13 win. Brisker's going to fill the weak side B gap from his safety position. Yannick Ngakoue is an interesting talent that plays defensive end for the Bears. He's been all over the league. He actually played for the Ravens for half a season in 2020, I believe. He kind of gets upfield. That's his MO. He's going to get upfield, kind of chase sacks, and at times kind of open up gaps like you see here. But in this case, this little duo concept, Brisker is able to fill that gap and stop Hubbard for very little gain. Bears won that game 16-13. I think they held the Panthers to 47 yards rushing. All right, fourth instance, 11 personnel pro twins, and you got Edwards and Sanborn. Gordon also fills fast from the nickel position. But these two fit this extremely well together. Sanborn and Edwards, I think, play very well together. Edmonds is clearly has more talent than Sanborn and is going to start if he's available. He was a full participant, I think, on Friday. Suffered a knee injury last week, I think. But these guys can play at the inside linebacker position. Athletic D lineman. I really like 93. That was not 93 there, chasing it around. But you can see how committed they are. You can see how they play downhill. It seems to me like early play action would be a real option for this Lions team because these guys play so downhill, because they're so aggressive against the run. Sanborn, again, with a great run fit. You haven't seen much out of Edwards yet, but you will. And you'll probably see it on Sunday, too. The guy makes 10, 12, 15 tackles a game like clockwork. Limits Hubbard to a 3-yard gain here. What's Sanborn's fit, man? The guy just finds the right gap to fit in. So does Edwards. So does Edmonds, for that matter. I feel like Edmonds is a little bit more of a parallel lateral movement guy at inside linebacker. These two, when they play together, a little bit more downhill. Play at angles, even though Sanborn and Edwards are both trying to fit it up. Like I said, held the Panthers to 47. Actually, it was 43 yards rushing last week. Watch Edwards on this one. He's the backside linebacker, I believe, from the top of the field. My apologies. This is the front side. He's the front side. Wrong play. Look at him take on. I'm not sure who that is, number 6 for New Orleans. But both Brisker, I think, up top and the corner are getting involved. Look at Edwards. That's commitment. Complete commitment. I'm just going to come downhill and smack whoever shows up in the mouth. And I may not get the tackle, but I'm going to make sure that you know I'm there and you're not going to want to come block me next time your coach tells you to execute that scheme. Tremendous block destruction there by Edwards. He's a brilliant football player. I love watching film of him. They lost to the Saints 24-17, despite limiting Kamara, Jamal Williams, Taysom Hill to only 87 yards rushing total because the offense turned the football over 5 times. Here's their rushing yards allowed by week, dating back 6 games. Last week, Panthers 43. This game you're seeing film of against the Saints, 87, 54, 39, 46, 29. That's the rushing yards they've allowed. Now, yes, you could say, well, it's because teams are throwing the ball a lot of them. That's true. They do allow 250 yards or 250 yards passing per game. There's no doubt about that. However, they're very good against the run. Even the Chiefs, who did run for 153 yards against them in week 3, they didn't succeed on these direct flow run plays. In this particular snap, Sanborn, Edmonds, and Edwards are all on the field to the bunch side. I do not think this is going to be now it's 13 personnel, so if Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of these guys who can motion across to the opposite side, I'm not sure that this is the alignment the Bears are going to be in on defensively on Sunday. But you can see these guys get to the football and they're aggressive. I love their defense against the run. I'm excluding analyzing the pass, to be honest with you. I watched probably about 20 plays, and I had seen enough. Do I think the Lions are going to be able to throw the ball on them? Yes. Do I think that the Bears can present some problems in the run game? Absolutely, for anybody. This, I believe, is the fit by Edwards on the backside of outside zone concept, down here to the bottom side of the screen. Watch his angle and his commitment. When he shows up with some fire. We used to like to say, when you arrive, let's arrive with some attitude. That's TJ Edwards. He's a really good football player. I have no idea why or how he didn't get retained by the Eagles. Maybe they were trying to cut salary or whatever. He's a really good football player. Play action stuff, if you ask me, looks good, but I would be careful with Yannick Ngakoue on the field. He is a guy that will veer off the quarterback. He is a guy who will eschew reading keys sometimes, at least historically. I'm not talking about film necessarily this year, and go after the quarterback to get a sack. So I would say that play action with Ngakoue on the field looks to me I would be a little hesitant because he's a little bit unpredictable. But direct flow run stuff, Lions are going to test him. Great offensive line, 2 great running backs, super smart quarterback who knows when to get them in the correct play, and they're not afraid to do it out of 11 personnel, 12 personnel, whatever. Run the football right at you, and Gibbs is talented enough to bounce things outside if need be. He's going to test Gordon, Brisker, and some of those other guys. And they're blocking downfield. The blocking downfield last week was amazing on this touchdown run by Montgomery, 75 yards. I think that if you're going to be successful immediately against this Bears team running the football, it's got to be some somewhat irregular things. So when I say irregular things, I don't mean any of the stuff that we've seen so far, which is just direct flow, no trickery involved, and Gibbs and Montgomery clearly is talented enough to accomplish things on those plays. But I'm talking about things like this. It's a draw to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 9 yards. Brisker is a very sure tackler. Look at the depth that he gets at safety. He's the top side safety up here. The depth that he's getting on the snap against a draw. I would say this is irregular stuff. 11 personnel, draw to the weak side out of trips. Brisker's a sure tackler. Lions have this one or multiple similar concepts, kind of referred to it a little bit earlier. Jet motion, and I can see Laporta being the guy leading out in front on this, kind of this counter step by Pacheco. Not saying direct flow run stuff isn't going to work. I'm saying this stuff does. This stuff, and especially you've got to get Edwards blocked up. If you get Edwards blocked up, you're in business. Edmonds and Sanborn, if and when they're in the game, I don't think Sanborn practiced at all this week. But if you can get Edwards blocked up on anything irregular, and you get people flowing in one direction, you got opportunities for big plays against this team. 18 yards for Pacheco, week 3. Again, if you can get the inside linebackers blocked up, I think they've got one of them walked out here. That might be Edwards, and that's Edmonds in the middle. If you can get them blocked up, you can generate chunk run plays I just think they've shown to be able to stop or slow down direct flow stuff that's right at them quite well enough that I wanted to make a point to mention it. I can certainly see the play action pass game having an early impact. Reynolds on some of these chunk passes that Goff can hit him on. Reynolds is a guy I think who you could get more out of if you needed it, but they just have so many weapons on offense. I don't know what the station was in Chicago or something. I saw it on Twitter, was talking about these guys aren't real talented at the receiver position. I was like, man, do you guys not watch film of this team at all? There's guys that like Khalif Raymond, Jamison. I know Raymond suffered an injury and may or may not, but he was listed as questionable. I think Jamison Williams is down there in terms of the depth chart number of targets. Kind of unreal that someone would think they don't have a lot of talent. I definitely think this one will be there. As long as, and I'm actually using this for a reason, a guy like Ngakoue is not going to run down the line of scrimmage here. He's not even going to collision the H-back tight end. Historically, especially when he played for the Ravens, he's going to veer off for the sack. So that's when he's on the field, I wonder what Ben Johnson's calls will be. I wonder if they'll run at him, and he's a super talented dude. He's still only 28 years old. He's been around the NFL for a long time. Always felt like Ngakoue, you could get more out of him, but he is a guy who will veer off to quarterback, I think, in my opinion anyway. Maybe the Bears have got him playing in a more disciplined fashion this year. I also think the big play opportunity potential is there, especially for Jamison Williams. Khalif Raymond dealt with an injury this week, I believe. Might mean more opportunities for Jamison Williams. And I don't think Lions fans are wrong when they question the deep ball quality and efficiency of Jared Goff. When I've seen him throw the ball deep, particularly to Jamison Williams, it hasn't been great. Our quarterback, Lamar Jackson, has had trouble with some deep balls this year, but threw the ball fantastic Thursday Night Football deep against the Bengals. I think the potential is there. I wish I had more time, to be honest with you, to go over more Bears offensive film. I think I would be remiss if I don't mention how highly I think of Tyreek Stevenson. He did a great job against Davante Adams in Week 7. Clearly could have given up a touchdown pass late in the game. Adams dropped a third down play where he did basically a slant fade and lost Tyreek Stevenson completely. But this is a 3rd and 4. Stevenson's physical, if you ask me. They seem to be willing to give up speed outs to the boundary often. When I say they, I mean the Bears corners. But he's a super talented young man, Miami University. And I think there's guys coming into the league every year who can make plays at corner, come in immediately, and cover well. That's Davante Adams that he's covering on a 2nd and 18. Going to give up, I think, a speed out to Jacoby Myers here from the bottom side of the screen. Some plays I would look for: jet sweep to St. Brown against this defense. Probably out of 11 personnel, to be honest with you. Additionally, the play action element, I think, could undercut the Bears' aggressiveness. This is the aforementioned play. Adams against Stevenson. You can see he gets lost on the slow slant fade. The O-line health of the Lions. Last week I was excited because I think Jonah Jackson and Frank Ragnow both played 100% of the snaps against the Chargers. Ragnow's good to go apparently this week again, but I don't think Jackson practiced at all this week. The film of him last week against the Chargers, I didn't see him when he played against Baltimore. I didn't see him when the Lions played the Ravens in Baltimore. He didn't play. I don't think he played week 6, 7, or 8. Bye week in week 9, he played against the Chargers. When they have all those guys healthy, that is a ridiculously good offensive line. Apparently Jackson won't play this week, at least from what I hear. You guys let me know what you think of the preview. I know it's abbreviated. I would have loved to have been able to watch some Justin Fields film. I do have a lot of it saved up, just don't have the time to get to it. If you guys think I should have focused on something else, feel free to let me know. I just don't think that this Bears team can stop a two-pronged Lions offense. They've got to pick something. And what they seem to be really good at, to me anyway, is stopping the run, particularly with that guy you saw right there, Edwards. And then picking and choosing the right times to anticipate the play action stuff on 1st and 2nd down by Goff and Ben Johnson. I think the Lions will probably go play action early, see if they can get those linebackers, Brisker and Gordon, the safeties kind of moving up and hit them over the top, those deep over routes that I showed you a couple of with Josh Reynolds, or maybe even Jamison Williams. You guys let me know what you think of the preview in the comment section. Forgive me for not being able to get this out sooner. Had some technical difficulties this week in getting content out, number one, and haven't been feeling fantastic myself. But looking forward to doing the game, the Lions game Sunday at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock my time anyway, and then getting a reaction video out for you guys as well. Let me know what you think of the preview, and if you have ever considered supporting me on Patreon, please consider checking out the link that's in my description. It's $4.99 a month. You get to be involved in the Lions Discord community. It's a private, small community right now. I think we have 11 people in there, and it's basically a secure place to communicate with people about the Lions, techniques, schemes, player injuries, whatever. And then people try to discuss things during the game as well. It's a fun environment, and you also get access to my online film database, which has every offensive snap for the Lions this year, labeled and categorized with data that's searchable for you. Appreciate you guys' time. If you think other Lions fans would enjoy this content, this film study preview of the Lions-Bears Week 11 matchup, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.